Okay, Be'ezrat Hashem, na'aseh v'natzliach. I want to welcome you to the Beacon Tower Lunch and Learn as we continue our study of Parashat Shavua. This week's Parashat is Parashat Toldot. I just want to give a quick honorable mention to our host, H&M Builders, Judah Mendel from Mendel Law, for our sponsor of Hummus Factory, for always helping us out, and for all the people that are here today. May Hashem bless you with health, wealth, success, all the Torah blessings for all that get involved in coming and learning together. And Be'ezrat Hashem, this week to Ilun Yishmat of David ben Zohara, Yaniv ben Rina, Shmuel ben Amuma, Moshe Halavi ben Shoshana, and to the Refuah Shelema of all Cholek Klal Yisrael.
Shena Batina, Tinoket Bachena.
ותינוקת בת שינה.
בעזרת השם.
בעזרת Hashem. Okay, so let's get started. So we spoke about the book of Sefer Bereshit having a central theme. The theme of Maaseh Avot Siman Lebanim. That the ways of the forefathers paved the way for the children. And if you want to know what to do with your life today, look at how our forefathers acted then. Maaseh Avot, the actions of our forefathers, are a sign or instruction, lebanim. Today, we're going to switch it up a little bit. It's the same concept, but it's going to be Maaseh Avot, Maaseh Imahot Siman Lebanim. We're going to see how our matriarchs, the mothers, what can we learn from them? And I want you to know that by taking this closer look at our matriarchs, at Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah, not only do you get to discover their character and you see the type of sacrifice that they had as women, as wives, as mothers, but right away, you'll see by the end of the class, your mothers come into play right away. Right away, you start to think of my Imam. Be'ezrat Hashem, that each one of us finds some amazing qualities from our matriarchs to connect it to our mothers and to our wives. So let's get started. Maaseh Imahot Siman Lebanim. Want to zoom in on the relationship of the matriarchs and their children. So in order to get started, we have to understand that the mothers, they planted a seed. They planted a seed in Sefer Bereshit, which eventually was going to come into fruition for generations and generations after, all the way to us here today. Whatever they did then was just an example, a manual to how we should behave and act and think in the future. Let's start from the beginning. Let's go to Sarah. Sarah has one child at the age of 90. With a husband that's 100 years old. His name is Yitzchak. She's living in the house with the second wife, her maid, Hagar, who was given to her husband as a wife so he can have a child when Sarah was barren. And now we have this little microcosm of a world of Sarah, Abraham, Hagar, Ishmael, Yitzchak. They're all living under one tent. And we see that there is an issue. We go to Perek Chaf Aleph, between Pasuk Tet and Yud, it lets us in. ותרא שרה את בן הגר המצרית אשר ילדה לאברהם מצחק. Sarah is noticing that the son that was born to the maid, Ishmael, is mitzachek. What's mitzachek? The Rashi opens it up for us and tells us he's worshipping Avodah Zarah. The Midrash is telling us he's doing something else. He's looking at Yitzchak, and he's taking an arrow and he's shooting the arrows at him. Shooting the arrows, trying to kill him. And when they come and they approach him, hey, what are you doing? You're shooting an arrow at Yitzchak, you're going to kill him. I'm just joking. I didn't mean to, I'm just playing. So Sarah says, I have a trickster in the house. I have a bad influence under my roof. Next pasuk. ותאמר לאברהם, גרש האמה הזאת ואת בנה. She right away goes to her husband and says, hey, listen, get rid of the maid and her son. כי לא יירש בין האמה הזאת עם בני, עם יצחק. Because there's no way that he's going to inherit your let's just say your estate or your inheritance with my son and him. Get rid of him. Don't think it was easy. You know, this is the son that made Abraham a dad. He actually loved him. He cared for him. Not only that, this is, you have to understand, a father and a son, there's a bond. Imagine one day after 13 years with your son, your wife tells you, listen, get him out of here. It's not so easy, but he did it. But we see that over here, Sarah was a no-nonsense woman. When she saw something wrong in the house, when she saw that there was a bad influence on her son, when she saw that her son was in danger, right away, she jumped in. Right away, she was on the attack. No, nobody's going to mess with my Yitzchak. Later on, in Chayei Sarah, which was the parasha that actually we learned together last week in detail, it says that Sarah passed away from the bad news. What was the bad news? If you remember, the Midrash said that the Yetzer Hara came in the form of an old man, or we say that the Yetzer Hara came and showed an apparition, like a video to her, that showed, and he started to tell the story. I was in this area where Har Moriah is, and I saw an old man that described how Abraham looked with a younger man, and described how Yitzchak looked, and I saw he had a big knife in his hand, and he picked it up, and he was ready to murder the guy that was tied up in front of him. And she's like, she's from the news. She couldn't even bear to hear Parashat Toldot before she could hear the end of the story. Just the fact that it was about to happen, she passed away. She passed away from bad news about her child. Now, there's another midrash that says, learn it a different way. Learn it a different way. Yes, she passed away from the bad news, but not because it was a bad thing, because it was a good thing. Why? It says, she thought about what's happening over there. She says, that's my husband? That's my husband that got to this point that he is willing to take his only beloved son, the one that the whole Am Yisrael is supposed to come from, and he's going to take him to the mountain, tie him up, put him on top of an altar for Kadosh Baruch Hu. What a husband. What a tzaddik I have for a husband that listens to Kadosh Baruch Hu up until this level. And she says, and furthermore, what a son. What a son I have. That while he's tied up and he puts his neck out to Hashem. He tells his father, cut me up good so I can be a pure olah. That I can be a pure sacrifice to Shemaim. If I have a son that is willing to do that for Kadosh Baruch Hu, I did a great job. What a son. I'm proud of him. And what you say? My job here is done. Baruch Nishmata. My job is done. What's the job of a mother? Al titosh Torah timecha. The education comes from the mother. Sure, the father is the head of the house. He comes and he's the one that dictates the spirituality in the house. But when he leaves at 6 o'clock in the morning to pray and comes back at 8 o'clock at night from work, who handles all that? Who handles the direction that the father has set up? The mother. So when she said, look at my son, look at my husband, job is done. She saluted, she said goodbye, and she went up to the Shemaim. Why? Because when you go to the Shemaim, you know what they tell you? What did you do? What is your handiwork? Most people, they say, what's my handiwork? My children. Your children? Let's take a look at your children. Look down. Look at Yitzchak. Akedat Yitzchak. Good job. Good job. When they go up to the Shemaim, they ask you about your children. Your children are the test. You get marked on how you raise the children. Not so much the books, not so much the learning. What did you leave behind? Leaving behind doesn't mean you left a big library in the house. Leaving behind meaning what children did you leave behind? That's what they judge you on. So over there, she said, you know what? My job is done. She went up to the Shemaim, and she had something to say to the angels. As a matter of fact, you know that mothers dedicate their lives to their children. They dedicate their lives to their children. Anyone who's married, anyone who has children, you can see that mothers have something very unique. Hashem gives them this power of patience, gives them power to withstand lack of sleep, hunger, discomfort, all these different things that us as men, I can tell you right now, we probably can't do it past 2-3 hours. I can testify to that. On Sundays, how much can I do? 2-3 hours and I'm already tapping out. They do it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, non-stop. Non-stop. With one child, with 2, with 3, with 4. Baruch Hashem, there's some that are doing it with 10, 12 kids. How do they do it? Because they live for their children. And as a matter of fact, in Parashat Chaye Sarah, how does it start? V'yu Chaye Sarah. The rabbis tell us, what can we learn from these 3 words? Vayhiyu Chaye Sarah. If you take the words Vayhiyu and you do the numerical value, the gematria, Vav is 6, Yud is 10, Hey is 5, Yud is 10, Vav is another 6. All together is, we'll do it together, 16, 21, 27, 37. What age at what age was Yaakov in time of Akedat Yitzchak? He was 37 years old. That means that Sarah Imenu passed away when he was 37. So when it says Vayu Chaye Sarah, you know the life of Sarah, you know what it was? 37 years. That's how she lived. The whole time that Yitzchak was alive, she was alive. 37 years, she had her son. She had a boy. Before that, so many hardships. She got kidnapped. She got taken away. She had all these 10 challenges with Avraham Avinu. You know, Chaye Sarah. You know when she really lived? 37 years. Vayu, 37. The Jewish mom, she lives for her children. If we move to this week's parasha, we have Parashat Toldot. Parashat Toldot is a very, very interesting parasha because it starts off with Rivka Imenu. Here's the second matriarch. And Rivka Imenu is going to be a mother of twins, of Esav and of Yaakov. And here, there's something very, very interesting. I want to read the Pesukim for you so you can understand what's going on here. Yitzchak and Rivka were barren. They couldn't have children. After a lot of tefillot to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, finally Hashem answered their prayers and they became pregnant. But after she got pregnant, listen to what happens. Vaitrotzetzu habanim bekirba. In her belly, the kids would start to move non-stop. The rabbis tell us, what do you mean moves? She says when she would go by the yeshiva of Shem and Ever, Yaakov would move. He wants to go there. When they would go by a house of Avodah Zarah, Esav would move and he wanted to go there. So everywhere she's walking, she's trying to see, why is the baby moving now? Why is the baby moving now? She didn't understand. She started to get confused. ויתרצצו הבנים בקרבה. ותאמר, אם כן, למה זה אנוכי? She says, if this is the pregnancy, if this is what it is, why am I, למה זה אנוכי? What is it? Why did I want this so much? Why did I ask for it? Had I known it to be like this, I wouldn't have asked for it. She complained. Within the complaint, there's some deep secrets. It says, אם כן, למה זה? What's this למה זה? The rabbis tell us, take the word zeh, and it's a zayin and a hey. Zayin is 7, hey is 5. 7 plus 5 is 12. She says, lama zeh? I'm supposed to get 12 tribes out of me. How am I going to do 12 tribes like this? How am I going to do 12 pregnancies like this? How could it be? And not only that, because she complained, you know what happened? Later on, it says that she gave birth to twins. But you know how it says twins? It says, "Vayimalu yamei haledet." Came the days for her to give birth. Vehine tomim bevitna. And that's in Pasuk Chavdalet. What's tomim? The Hebrew word for twins is teomim. It's written over here missing a yud and an aleph. Yud is 10, aleph is 1, 11. Why does it say tomim and not teomim? To show that she lost the schut, the merit, to do 11 more pregnancies. She was supposed to get pregnant 11 more times to have the tribes come out of her. She lost it. Deep secrets within the Pesukim. After she's complaining, Lama ze anochi, vatelech lidrosh et Hashem. It says, what's vatelech lidrosh et Hashem? She went to the yeshiva of Shem and Ever, and she tells them, what's going on, rabbis? What's going on? I go by the shul, he's moving. I go by the avodah zarah, he's moving. Rivka thought she had one baby. So the Shem and Ever, when she went over there, she said, calm down. ויאמר השם לה, שני גויים בבטנך. You have two. You have twins. ושני לאומים ממך. Two nations are going to come out from you. ייפרדו, they're going to split. They're going to be opposites. And it says, so she's and it says that after that she calmed down. As a matter of fact, the pasuk says that it calmed her down and she didn't have to go back anymore. Why? She says, oh, okay. I understand. I got one tzaddik and I got one rasha. I have one that's going to be a Torah learner and I have one that's going to be a troublemaker. And it calmed her down. Now, why would the news that one of your kids is a rasha calm her down? Wouldn't that be troubling for her? So here is an interesting concept. It says, Rivka was very, very concerned that she had a child that's a flip-flopper. That here today, gone tomorrow. He has one opinion one day, another opinion the next day. In other words, in the more flip-flop generation, she was worried about it. Remember that class? Very good. Rivka Imen was also into it. Why? The kid goes to shul in the morning, and in the nighttime he goes to the nightclubs. He gives tzedakah in the morning, then he goes to the Hard Rock to gamble at night.
This is my parsha.
Yeah? He speaks.
It's everybody right now.
He speaks emet in the prayer, in the learning, right? He comes, emet, the Gemara, Chok Israel, this and that. Then he goes to work and he starts to lie to the clients. Rivka Imenu couldn't tolerate that. Couldn't believe that she has a child inside of her who's a flip-flopper. But when she got the news that it's two, it calmed her down. Why? Because we have ways. We have ways for the tzaddik and we have ways for the rasha. Not every kid is perfect. And we have every single different ways of education with children, which we will see that they implemented, the two of them. But she just couldn't tolerate the kid on both sides of the coin. That he's a tzaddik and a rasha at the same time. That he's derech Hashem v'derech lo tova at the same time. She couldn't tolerate him not picking a path in life, let alone the right path. The whole concept of having good and bad all mixed together. Tov v'ra. You know, our whole job here is actually to do the virur of Tov v'ra. The whole thing for us as Jews is to take Tov v'ra, leave the bad, keep the good. Leave the bad, keep the good. That's our daily work. That's our daily job. But the person who lives with good and bad all mixed together, that she couldn't tolerate. Just on that note, there's even a deeper way to understand this concept of what Rivka was worried about, of good and bad mixed together. There's a lot of people that do bad in the name of good. A lot of people, they do very bad things and they hurt a lot of people in the name of good. And I'll give you some examples. And for example, you go to shul, right? Shul, you're doing good. You're going to pray. But what happens? All of a sudden you become the sheriff of the shul. Hey, shh, quiet. You know, all of a sudden you become the shushing police, right? Because we know it's a big sin to talk in tefillah. Big sin. You're not allowed to talk. You come, you pray, you go home. It's not a social, a coffee club, or a social circle. People that know the big sin it is to talk in shul. But when they want to tell somebody, they don't come to them, please, tzaddik, quiet. Oh, I'll talk to you later. You know, something like that. You're chutzpan. You're very rude. You're talking in shul. Quiet. Embarrassing a person. That's good and bad mixed together. What are you doing? That's not Torah. That's not the right way. That's not. You got to calm yourself down. You got to find a different approach. Maybe he doesn't know as much as you. Maybe you have to teach him. Maybe the rabbi has to go to class. Maybe you just let the rabbi will tell him how to do it through the ways of derech eretz. So sometimes we go to do good, but we're doing it bad. But because we think we're doing it from the good side, what happens? We're hurting. Good and bad mixed together. Sometimes we come to the house, right? We think that, we have to be tough. What's it to being tough? I'm being good. I'm teaching my child what's the right way. This is the halacha. This is the bracha. Put a kippah on your head. Put all these things. And in the end, what happens? The whole ways of the Torah is to do it calmly, to do it relaxed. And all of a sudden you get so angry, you're telling the kid to put on a kippah, but you have the face of a monster on your face. Or you're yelling and you're screaming. That's good and bad mixed together. Rivka Imenu said, no, we don't want that. We don't want the good and bad mixed together. And a person that thinks that he can do bad in the name of good. You can even see that not so much in Judaism, Baruch Hashem, but you can see in the world today. A lot of people are killing other people in the world in the name of good, right? Oh, these are infidels. They don't believe in my God. They need to die. In other words, they feel like we're doing this for God. We don't want to kill. We're killing for God. God needs us to kill you because you don't believe in Him. You understand? That's the good and the bad. There it is. They think they're doing something good, but in reality, they're doing the worst thing in the world, killing another human being. And that's what Rivka was worried about. That a person would get even to the rishut, to the side of it, that they feel that doing bad because they're good. That she couldn't tolerate. Rivka feared a tzaddik who justified his bad ways. Rivka feared a tzaddik that justified his evil ways. But now that the kids are grown up, and you have a grown-up Esav and a grown-up Yitzchak, in Perek Chaf Hei, in Pasuk Chaf Chet, it says over there, a very interesting Pasuk, is that if you don't really study it, just on face value, it seems very weird. Vayehav Yitzchak et Esav kitzait befiv. It says over here that Yitzchak loved Esav. Vayehav. He loved Esav. Why? Kitzait befiv. He was able to what? He was able to, he had good control of his speech. He knew how to, besides the fact that he was a good hunter, and we know that he was a good hunter because of what? Remember the jacket? Remember that? Very good. But we see over here at Kitzait befiv, Verivka ohevet et Yaakov. What is this? Parents taking sides? Rivka loves Yaakov, and Yitzchak loves Esav? What is this, a split home? What's going on over here? So Chazal tells us something very, very interesting. They tell us that Yitzchak wasn't a fool. He knew that Esav was a Rasha. He knew it. But what did he do? Every time he saw him, he was doing kiruv on Esav. Every time he saw Esav, he did kiruv. What's kiruv? Esav, oh, I love you. I love you, Esav. You're such a good boy. Come, let's talk. Let's talk about Gemara. Let's talk about Torah. Let's talk about halachot. And Esav would come to him. Yeah, how do you do maaser on salt? How do you tithe water? How do you do maaser on water? Asking him trick questions. And you know, there's no such thing of taking 10% of salt. There's no such thing as taking 10% on water. You know? So Esav would be, you know, like trying to be tricky, slick. And Yitzhak is telling me, you know what? It's a great question. If we think about it, and let's talk why. So Yitzhak loved the whole back and forth with him, and he showed him a good face. You know why? That's how you deal with a rasha. That's how you deal with a bad kid. You show him a good face. You talk to him. You interact with him. You stay connected. Right? Most people, the kid is rasha. What? Get him out of here. Move out. Take your stinky ways out of here. Don't do this under my roof. What did Yitzhak say? Stay, come, talk to me. Talk to me with your sketch questions that you want to give me now. No problem, let's do it. And Yitzhak enjoyed it. And it says that Rivka loved Yaakov. Why? First and foremost, we know that she was concerned that he'd be a tzaddik, right? So he was a tzaddik. So she loved him because he was a tzaddik. But why did she love him even more? Because when she saw him acting like a tzaddik. One thing is to be a tzaddik, to act like one, to talk like one, to behave it. Every time he spoke, she loved him more. Every time he did another mitzvah, she loved him more. Every time she saw another action, she loved him more. She loved him for the goodness that he represented and how he lived out his life. His father loved Esav in order to do kiruv, to keep him going. There was a situation in the household of Yitzhak, and that's how they handled it. That's how they handled two different children living under the table, under the same house. Now, Yitzhak, before he passed away, he gave blessings. And you have to understand, this is not like Shkoyach, Chazak u'Baruch. These are blessings that have power. You know, Hashem gave the power of bracha to Avraham. He says, you are going to be a person that can give blessings and they work. Avraham passed that power to Yitzhak. Imagine, the guy talks and it happens. He has the power to bless. He has the power to heal. He has the power to give you hatzlacha. You want a zivug, he says zivug, it happens. You want parnasah, he says parnasah, it happens. He has that power. Yitzhak is now ready to pass that power on. To pass on the beracha. And we know with the whole story of Esav and Yitzhak, we're not going to go into this story. We did many classes about it. But we know that Yaakov got the bracha, and rightfully so, because Esav didn't want it. He forsaked it. He said, "Lama li bracha, lama li bechora. What do I need this for?" He didn't believe in olam haba. He didn't believe in teshuvah. He only believed in today. He says, "What olam haba? Where's Noach today? You see him? Did he come back? No. Avraham Avinu just passed away. Where did he go? I don't see him. Oh, this is a farce. Give me soup today. What do you want to tell me? You want to take my bechorah? Take it. What's going to happen? Bechorah, actually, at that time, who was planned to be the employees of Bet HaMikdash? Who are going to be the workers of Bet HaMikdash? The firstborns, the Bechor. He says, what does this title give me? That I have to go work in Bet HaMikdash and slaughter animals or bring sacrifice? I don't want to work. You take the job. I vacate the spot. Take it over. For what? What do you have for me? Hey, well, let's make a deal. Give me a big bowl of soup. I'll switch you for that. Take the bechorah, I'll take the soup. But even though, with all that being said, Esav also got a beracha. Esav got a blessing. The pasuk goes like this in Perek Chav Zayin, pasuk Lamed Tet through Mem Aleph. Vayan Yitzchak aviv vayomer elav. Yitzchak, his father, tells him, he gives him a blessing that in English will be, behold, the fatness of the earth shall be your dwelling, and the dew of the heavens from above. continues to say, Ve'al harbecha tichye ve'et achicha ta'avod. He says, you're going to live by the sword, and you're going to work for your brother. V'haya kasher tarid ufarak ta'ulo ma'at savarecha. And he says, oh, this is such a beautiful pasuk. This one we're going to learn in depth. And it says, by your sword you shall live, by your brother you shall serve, yet it shall be when you are aggrieved, you may cast off his yoke from upon your neck. Let me explain to you what this pasuk is saying. He says, V'al harbecha tichya, you're going to live by the sword. You should know that the Christians came from Esav. And the Christians always came and they did all their killings. They killed a lot of Jews with this technique also of what? We're here in the name of the Lord, and we're here to kill you because you're not going in the ways of the Lord, right? It was a cross. Well, how does the cross look? It looks like a sword, just upside down. So they come, they say, you have to believe in Christianity. They show you the cross. You don't believe it? They take the cross, they turn it upside down and turn it into a sword, and they kill you with it. That's what they did. They came with religion. You didn't go to the religion, they killed you with it. So he says, Val harbecha tichya, you're going to live by the sword. What looks like the sword? Their cross. He says the second part of the pasuk, something very interesting. It says, it says, V'etachicha ta'avod, and then you're going to have to work for your brother. What kind of a blessing is this? Not only did Yaakov take my blessing, now you want to tell me that I have to work for him? This is not a blessing. So he tells him a second part of the pasuk. He says, "V'haya kasher tarid ufarak ta'olo ma'atzavecha." He says, when you want to take his yoke off of your neck, when you don't want to work for him anymore, you know how you do it? Kasher tarid. What's kasher tarid? The word tarid is one letter away from taryag. Tarid is, we know that we have 613 mitzvot, otherwise known as Taryag mitzvot, right? 613 mitzvot. That's the mitzvot of the Torah. What happens to a non-Jew? A guy like, let's say, like a Christian that comes and converts. What happens? By converting, he has what? Extra mitzvah on you. His Taryag becomes what? Taryad. He says, Kasher Tarid. When you go and have that extra mitzvah and you become Jewish, he says that's when you could take his yoke off of him and you're going to be better than him. Up until then, he's going to work for you. Kasher tarid. Interesting. Now look at this. Yitzchak Avinu blesses one of the biggest enemies of the Jewish people. For many, many centuries, for thousands of years, the Christians have been killing the Jews. And our forefather, our Saba, Shel Saba, Shel Saba, Shel Saba, all the way there, gave him a blessing. Why? As a matter of fact, there's another character like that in history. There's Ishmael. And Ishmael got no blessings. Ishmael got no blessings. He got gifts. Avraham Avinu sent him with gifts, and that's all he got. Why does Esav get a beracha and Ishmael doesn't? This is very interesting. One, because Christians convert. Christians convert a lot more than Muslims. How many Muslims do you know that converted? We know that there's a few, right? But like Christians? No. Way more. Why do Christians convert a lot more than Muslims? First of all, because of here. He says, Kasher Tarid. When you convert, you're going to get the beracha. They want to cash in on that. That's number one. Number two, a lot of the Torah that we are learning today is from converts. A big part of Torah Shebe'al Peh, of the Gemara, of the Parshanim, is converts. Unkelus. The whole thing that we do, Shtai Mikra V'Echad Targum, every Chumash has this commentary on the side, right here. Unkelus. That's a convert. Resh Lakish, that's a convert. Excuse me, let me take you to the biggest one. Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva is a convert. Rabbi Meir Ba'al Hanez, he's the son of a convert. The biggest, one of the biggest leaders in Jewish learning, Shemaya v'Avtalion, who their students were Bet Shammai and Bet Hillel. Their students, that the whole concept of Bet Shammai and Bet Hillel come from these what? Converts. So we say, Natan Chesed LaAvraham, Natan Emet LeYaakov. What's Emet LeYaakov? Emet is Torah, right? That's he gave to Yaakov. That he gave to us. But the Torah Shebe'al Peh, who did he give to? He gave it to the Gerim coming out of Esav. Because Esav, when he came out of the womb, right? Yaakov, what did he do? He touched him. He gave him a little bit of kedusha. You know, when Esav passed away, what happened? Hush ben Dan, he cut off his head, and his head rolled into Me'arat HaMachpelah. Esav's head is right here. It's right next to his father, over there, just the head. Why would the head of Esav make it to Me'arat HaMachpelah? Because there was Torah in it. And not only that, the Torah Shebe'al Peh came from the Gerim. And we see, so in a house where there's a tzaddik and a rasha, we know how to deal with it. And not only that, Yitzchak Avinu knew that all the time that he's spending with him, or the kiruv that he's doing, is because Maaseh Avot Siman Lebanim. Soon he saw from his lineage how many big rabbis are going to come. We just mentioned in the room 5 of the biggest rabbis in Jewish history come from Esav. Now, we did Sarah, we did Rivka. I would like to do Rachel. Leah, maybe we need to do a whole class on Leah. I'm not going to do Leah right now, but I just want to take another matriarch, another one of our imahot, and tell a story about her. What kind of a mother was Rachel? So in a few parashiyot from now, we're going to have the famous story where Rachel has no children. Once again, the same story, barren, right? Meanwhile, we have Leah with children, the 2 maidens, Bilhah and Zilpah, with children. So that means the 2 maids and the sister that Rachel gave to her husband. Here, take my husband, you get married first, all have children. And we have Rachel Imenu sitting over there for year after year after year after year, baby after baby after baby after baby after baby, sitting over there with no child. Comes Reuven from the field with a special plant called the dudaim. It's a plant that is known that when somebody eats it, they can become pregnant. Wow. So she sees it, and Reuven brought it to who? His mother. Reuven is the Bechor. He's the first tribe. He's the firstborn. Why? Because when Leah had him, she called him Reuven. What's Reuven? Reu, Ben. It's a boy. So he comes to give his mother the dudaim. Rachel comes and says, Leah, can I have the dudaim, please? As a matter of fact, if you give me the dudaim, I am willing to give up my turn tonight to be with Yaakov. Yaakov had 4 wives. They rotated on who's going to be with him. That night was the night of Rachel Imenu. She says, I'm willing to give up the night of my night with Yaakov to you in order that she give me the dudaim. Which, by the way, you should know, because she gave up a night with the tzaddik, that's the reason the Chazal tell us she wasn't buried in Me'arat HaMachpelah. She, Rachel Imenu is buried on the side of a road. She's not. Yaakov and Leah are buried in Me'arat HaMachpelah. Rachel Imenu, Kever Rachel. It's in Hebron, right? Mm-hmm. Why? Because she gave up a night with the tzaddik. Besides other things. So.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I don't want to be rude, but we're also working here, and if you could a little bit tone down the voice, we would appreciate it, because it's very late for us and we have things to do as well. Okay, there's 2 more people in the office working. Okay, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Why she? I don't understand why she go there if she give us something nice. I don't understand that.
There's a lot more to say about that interaction. I don't want to go into it because we actually did a class on it not too long ago. We did a class on it that goes into detail on the interaction, and it goes even deeper than that. There's so many different stories. But for what we're learning right here, right now, we see that she made a trade with Leah to be with Yaakov in order to get the Dudaim. The rabbis tell us, why would she do that? Being with Yaakov Avinu will give her another chance to get pregnant and have a child. Why would she give that up? So Rachel Imenu knew that if Leah is going to be Yaakov that night, she knew which child she was going to have. And which child did Leah have that night that she was with Yaakov? Issachar. Issachar is what? That's the Torah learner. That's the yeshiva bachur. Issachar is the one that would sit all day long and learn. Rachel Imenu says, I'm willing to give up my opportunity to have a child. So what? So a Torah learner can come down to this world. She is for the Torah to be part of the Jewish nation, to bring a Yisachar, where there's the yeshiva bachur, the one that studies and shtags all day long. She's willing to give up her chance to be with the tzaddik in order for that to come into the world. Could you imagine? That's a Rachel Imenu. Now, right here, I want to stop and tell you a story. I read this story, and it's one of the best stories I've read in a very, very, very long time. It's from Or Daniel, and it goes like this. There was a town, a surah, where they were looking to build a new synagogue. And they needed, as usual, the funds. And there wasn't too much to go around. In a village, you always have like one rich guy, two rich guys, everybody else were commoners. That's how it was back in the days. And they needed help. So they wanted to do the cornerstone for the builders. Cornerstone is a very important thing. They said, listen, we need funding. So they said, there's one rich guy that he's also a philanthropist, and we'd like for him to call him to see if he'd help. The truth was, he was really a very good philanthropist. He had a very big heart, and he says, how much does that cornerstone weigh? I'll say they told him, I don't know, 100 pounds, 150 pounds. He says, I'm willing to donate that amount of weight in gold in order to donate for the synagogue. So they went, they weighed the weight of the stone. He right away went and gave him exactly what it was, and it was a lot of money, and they were able to go ahead and build the synagogue in this town. The rabbi that was there was very impressed. He was a big rabbi, and he came over to him and he says, you did such an amazing thing. You did such a zikuy rabim for everybody that's here in the town. What can I get you? I'd like to give you a beracha, and Be'ezat Hashem, that my beracha will come true. He says, you know what, Rabbi? If you're already asking, I'll tell you. He says, me and my wife, for many, many years, are not able to have a child. We're not able to have a child. Please bless me to have a baby boy. He tells him, okay, give me a few days. Let me look into it. Let me pray on it. He was also a very high Kabbalistic rabbi that was able to go and see things. He says, and I'll get back to you. After 3 days, he comes and knocks on his door. He tells him, can I sit down and talk to you? He tells him, yes. He goes to him, you can have a child. I found the way. But I found that in the heavens, that 3 things need to happen for you to have a child. He tells him, what is it I'm willing to accept? He says, 1, tered menechasecha. First, you got to lose all your money. 2, when your wife gets pregnant, you're going to need to die. 3, after your wife gives birth, she needs to die. He says, okay, let me talk to my wife. He goes talks to her wife. He says, listen, we want to have a child so bad. The rabbi told me, he looked into it, and if we lose all our money, and you will get pregnant. Once you get pregnant, during the pregnancy, he says, you're going to that he's going to pass away. And after you give birth to the child, you're going to pass away. She says, if we can bring a child into this world that's going to be a tzaddik and learn Torah, I'm willing to do it. Because life without children, life without continuing and bringing children to the world is not life. They went for it. Shortly after, this very wealthy man went down his nechasim and lost all his money. His wife got pregnant. During the pregnancy, during the pregnancy, her husband passed away, and now she was all alone. So all alone that she had nobody to fend for her, that she would go out in the middle of the street with now her old clothes. People are used to seeing her cleaned up, jewelry, looking so good. Over here now she's old clothes, going to the grocery store, begging to see if they can give her bread. When she went over there, the lady behind the counter says, "Is that you? Is that you? You were the one that used to pay for people's bills. You were the one that used to pay a lot of money so other people could eat. You were the richest woman in the town. This is how you are?" So she comes in and she sits her and she talks. And she tells her, "Listen, this is my story." And she tells her that they wanted to have a child so bad, and these were the conditions, that they were going to come down in the nechasim, they're going to lose their money, her husband is going to pass away, and the third part actually is going to be that after the pregnancy, she's going to pass away, the child is going to be on his own. The woman and her husband of the inn, of this place where she was buying the food from, were so touched by this story, so they said, "So please, in the meantime, let us take care of you. You took care of so many different people. You spent so much money. Let us take care of you." And they ended up taking care of her. As a matter of fact, the name of the lady is Idol. That's her name, Idol. And after she gave birth, they took care of the baby as well. And they fell in love with the baby. And when the mother passed away, they decided that they're going to raise this child. In other words, the child now has parents to take care of him, so on and so forth. This child grew up to be one of the biggest Torah giants of Jewish history. This child is the Maharsha. Did you ever hear of the Maharsha? Harav Shmuel Idolish. You know what's Idolish? Remember his caretaker was Idol? Idolish. He comes from Idol. In other words, he is Moreno Harav Shmuel Idolish, otherwise known as the Maharsha. For anybody who learns Gemara, you go, the Pirush Maharsha. You learn Halachot, all these different things on very high level books, Maharsha. We see over here an example of a Jewish mother that's willing to die so her son can come and learn Torah. Do you see what's a Jewish mother? Do you see what we're learning from Sarah, Rivka, Rachel? We learn from the story that we have over here. These are all examples of the Imahot. They're beginning to reveal to us the beginning of the Jewish DNA. If you want to see, look at the struggles that they went through. Look at the challenges that they went through. What is that showing us? That's showing us the powerful woman that lives in our home. She's a direct descendant of Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, and Leah. This innate qualities of a Jewish mom that is very unique. Walk in the mall and you'll see who's a Jewish mom and who's not a Jewish mom. Everybody takes care of their kids. Everybody feeds their children, dresses them, washes them. But there's a difference. There's a difference when you see a Yiddish mama. The reason is the Yiddish mama, right? The Jewish mother, they live for their children. Sometimes they die for their children. The Jewish mother, they protect their children's environment. Like we saw in Sarah, like we saw in Rivka. They're concerned about the ruchaniyut. They're concerned if there's going to be around a bad influence or they're going to be in the Torah way. Like we saw with Sarah, like we saw with Rivka. They're concerned about the goodness not getting mixed with the bad. Like we saw with Rivka, that she was worried that she might have a child in her belly that is a flip-flopper, that uses the good and the bad all together, that wants to do both at the same time. The Jewish mother is concerned with Torah in the world. Like we see Rachel Imenu that gave up anything that she wanted for her in order for Yisachar to come into the world. That a Torah Jew will come into the world. And we see that the Jewish mother is willing to lose their honor. They're willing to lose their prestige for their children. Rachel Imenu gave up that prestigious spot of Me'arat HaMachpelah. You know what it is? To be buried with Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, to be buried with Adam Rishon, with Chava, with Sarah, with Rivka. She gave it up. She gave it up. For what? For Yisachar to come. Let me be on the road, so like that when my children come back from the Galut, I'll be there to greet them. That's Rachel Imenu. They're willing to lose their lives because family life is everything for a Jew. As a matter of fact, if you notice in the last week's parasha, and with this I'll conclude, Avraham Avinu, when it came to the managing of his house, who did he have? He had Eliezer. The whole thing, all the riches, all the finances, all the camels, all the business, anything that had to do with Avraham, who? Talk to Eliezer. He was in charge of everything. He trusted him blindly. Yet, when the time came to get a zivug for his son, what does he say? Hey, come over here. Put your hand onto my Brit Milah and put it on my thigh and swear to me that what I tell you, you're going to do exactly. And what happened? You trust him with everything. You're asking him for a zivug for your son. He has to go swear to you. You have to have the ceremony. You'll be cursed if you don't do it. What happened, Avraham? You know why? Hakol tov v'yafeh. Everything is okay for everything else. But when it comes to the family, be careful. When it comes to the children, that's where we draw the line. That's when we take things seriously. Swear to me that you're going to do what you're supposed to do. We don't play around. Now, the question is, are we the same? Are our wives the same? Are our mothers the same as Sarah, as Rivka, as Rachel, as Leah? I told you in the beginning of the class, you're going to find something that your mother did that is like them. Mm-hmm. I would like to have Hakarat Tov. If you just give me one more minute to give a moment of gratitude to my parents. Because this whole thing made me think of my mother. It made me think of my father. So I want to show you that in my family, I felt the self-sacrifices of my parents. My life story in short, we were born in Israel. We came to Brooklyn, New York. I was 8. My sisters were 6, 4, and 2. We were immigrants, typical story, coming with very little money, that right away my father had to take 2-3 jobs to survive. We were in public school for like a couple of months, and then we realized that we can't be in public school. We can't be in the wrong environment. We have to be in a yeshiva, and yeshiva costs lots of money. We don't have it. What do? One of the biggest problems till today that every person faces. You want your children to grow up in a Jewish environment. You don't have the money for it. How do you do? To make a long story short, my parents worked 3 jobs. My father worked 3 jobs. My mother worked 2 jobs. And the school was willing to help us. How? They said, we have a program where after all the kids go home, we take the downstairs gym, we put tables and chairs, and we do bingo for the old age home from across the street. They would walk over and they would do bingo games for 4 or 5 hours every single night. And if you want your kids to go to yeshiva, you got to come 4 nights a week and read the numbers out to the old people, and that will pay your tuition. And my father, for close to 10 years, after 3 jobs, after 2 jobs, every night would go over there. So what? So we could have Jewish education. And my mother would go to would work in catering, and my mom was also a big chef. That late hours, all this for what? For what? All these things. They could have just said, go to public school. It's free. We have weekends off. We can work 1 job. We can be free. We can be fine. Self-sacrifice for the children. What? So they can be in the right environment. So they can have Torah in their life. So they can find the right zivug. So they can know what's wrong and what's good and what's bad. When I see Maaseh Avot Siman Lebanim, Maaseh Imahot Siman Lebanim, I see it in my own family, Baruch Hashem, and I guarantee you that you see it also. The sacrifices that your parents did, that you are here today with a kippah on your head and learning Torah. It's not so simple. Somebody planted a seed. Yes, Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, they planted it. But your parents planted it also, and it's coming to fruition now. Be'ezrat Hashem, that we merit to be Torah Jews. Be'ezrat Hashem, that we merit to that the seed that they planted comes out to be a beautiful fruit, and then we plant new seeds with our children, and that we be matzlichim to follow the ways of the avot, the ways of the imahot, and to give our children the environment that they need, the protection that they need, the love that they need, the chinuch that they need, in the ways of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Hashem Baruch Atem, Sameach Atem, Shabbat Shalom.